Hello everyone, Ishan and welcome back to the HTMX Go tutorial series here upon my channel. Yeah, I know it's been a while since I made a video in this series and it's been pending, I know, but here we are finally. And this in this video, as I promised in the last one, we will be delving into creating a user, session management, session based authentication, all of the cool backend stuff. There won't be a lot of HTMX involved. This will have a fair bit of Go, but uh, HTMX is primarily, I mean, it helps you create a front end through the back end. So the back end part is obviously important. So that's what we'll be delving into in this video. So don't expect a lot of HTMX. That's the reason I don't have a slide presentation up as I always do. But it's going to be fun. We are going to be delving into some cool HTMX topics as well. Like how do you integrate HTMX into the JavaScript of the website. So it's not just attributes anymore. You're also interacting with JavaScript through HTMX. So we'll be doing that as well. And if you remember, this is where we left off last time. You click on the hello world, you get the paste, and there are none. You can enter in the stuff, submit, you get the paste. In this case, it won't work though, however, because I deleted the default user. In case you don't remember, I recommend you go back to the previous video, but if you remember, we had hard coded in the username, and I said this actually has to be the session or the cookie. So we'll be doing that now. And yeah, so first thing for authentication, we will actually be needing to create a user, for which I have written this cool little function. So create user takes in the parameter create user request that takes in the username, email, and string. So if I switch over to my terminal here, use PSQL Go paste and use slash d users to describe the users in Postgres, you can see the bio and username are nullable. So we don't need to pass that in. We just need to pass in username, email, and password. Right. So we are passing those in. We are creating a new user, and this function will create the user. Right. And we can have one more function that actually creates a session, right? So we need to go to types and we need to type create session request, which is a struct. Uh, we we need to see the description. Okay, so we need a session ID, a username, and if it's valid or not. That's all we'll be needing. That's cool. So session ID is generated by default. Actually, we don't need to have that. We can, but for the sake of it, let's just do. That just needs the username, which is a string. We need a func that is a PQ of the type DB instance, and that is a create session. The request is create session request that gives an error. The query the query is obviously what insert into sessions, I guess. Yeah, sessions. Session ID comma username. Values is 1 and 2. Okay. So our session ID will be a random hash of like 25 characters. How about that? Uh, does that give me an error? Okay, that does not give me an error. So what do we say? We say that is perfect. If error is not null, we return the error. If else, we return null. So perfect. We have the create session and the create user, and we obviously need to have a function called what is that? Uh, we obviously do need to have a function called uh, get user get user, right? Am I doing it right? Yeah, I'm doing it right. Oops, what is this? Oh yeah, there is no user. So type user, which is a struct that has the username, email, No password, obviously. It also needs to have the full name, which is a string, and the bio, which is also a string. So, and obviously created at the timestamp. So perfect, we need to have all of that. Is it doing it right? There is no user password. Just empty. It doesn't accept empty. Uh, I don't know how to do that. I guess temp password will suffice. Mm, and temp password. How that? Okay, so now that we have all of that, let us export them through the uh, our interface, through our store interface. So in API.go, actually, we can have something like this. So API server, which is an API, perfect. Which is it's a star API. Actually, it's a pointer to the API. So what do we call this? We call this handle user creation, right? That takes in the context from Jin. And how do we do this? How do we do this? Very good, very good. Okay, oh, there you go. Okay, so the request is in fact create user request of post from username, email, and password. Thanks, GPT. Error is api.store. Whatever. Create user that takes in the request. It's perfectly like a puzzle. In the error creating user. If it's not, and only if it's not, we return user created. Awesome. Now that we have that, we also need to handle user creation, which is again perfect. But in this case, we actually don't need to explicitly write this function because it's not a handle at all. This is more of like a helper function that gets called, if that makes any sense. Uh, Handle user login, for example, that takes in a gin dot context, a pointer to the gin dot context rather. This, in fact, uh, wait, handle user login. I know ChatGPT is suggesting this, but in fact, yes, this is sort of what we need to do. We also need the uh, we need the password. By the way, we just can't do that. No. That's I mean, yeah, it's right, but first up, the username will be that, and the password will be that, and we need some way to verify. Basically, authenticate the user. Uh, Func of uh, PQ, which takes in the DB instance. Uh, Get user password. Let GPT autocomplete that. Hopefully, I verify it to be true. Scan password. Perfect. Uh, what is that? Wait, how do I do this? Actual password is oh, it's not exported yet. How do we do that? So get user password. Hopefully now you're happy. You're not happy? Okay. This also returns an error. If error is not null, yeah. If match passwords. Uh, if just not, if only if it doesn't, we need to return the error, right? Or else we create the session, which takes in the error of api.store create session request of username. Is what's the username? Username is username, which is that. And if the error is not null, error creating session or error logged in. What happened? Okay. Actually, we also would need to store the session. So this just can't return the error. this also has to return a string. It returns a string and an error, right? So that returns that and that returns that. Perfect. So we need not just that, we need the session ID and the error. Yeah. Now, what, uh, what happened? What happened? That does need. Oh, okay, 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 okay. I understand. There you go. Now you might be happy. And c dot cookie session ID. What happened? What happened? What happened? Yeah, it's c dot set cookie. Yeah, there you go. Now that will be true. Format is not good. There you go. Session ID. No secure cookie. Domain is localhost. Max age in seconds is okay. That's fine. That's completely fine. So handle user creation. We have handle login and user sign up. We don't actually create a session, or do we? Do we create the session? No, we'll just ask the user to log in. This is not a industry application. We don't need to be that serious. So now that this is done, let me open up HTTP or your whatever your favorite API testing this thing is. Here we have localhost 2468. Oh wait, I didn't even add it yet. R.post create user, R.post login. Perfect. Hopefully that has reloaded that for us. Uh, Install on next launch. Regular, yeah, we create user. We take the body of form. Form name. What all do we need? What all do you need? We need the form name of a username and a password. Is it login or creation? No, it's creation. I understand the irony of using an API testing tool to uh, test our HTMX API, but you know, this is cool as well. Send that and page not found. What do you mean page not found? Localhost 2468 404. Oh, that's sent in a GET request stated and in a post. What's the user created? Awesome. Now if I come to Argoland and check the users, there we go. Perfect. Hashed password. Everything looks awesome. Okay, so now let's go to login. If I'm writing it right. I'll check for that and that, and if everything works well, logged in. And if we did everything properly, we have a session created. So there you go. The back end of this thing is entirely done, and we always have the master switch. We can set that to false anytime. Now we need a way to authenticate. Remember, till now we were only able to log in and create. We were not able to authenticate basically, and we need to do this. So first up, we have to create that function. So it's a func of DB instance that takes in PQ. Okay, and this is get session from get session basically, and that takes in the session ID, which is a string, and that returns the user and the error, or does that return just the username? Just the username is fine, because in the future our this thing might increase. So uh, if error is not null, no, 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 this is not how we want to do this. We uh, I mean, yeah, it would give us an error, but yeah, for now this is okay. But in the future, to do, check if the session is valid, and also uh, use error handling to check the to check if it is null. Okay, so not only that, we also need to check if it is null or not. Okay, so now that that to do is done, we have to add that to our interface get session. Now that it's in the interface, we can go ahead, write a new function called handleauth that takes in a pointer to the gem context, right? And where is that? There you go. Hmm, I don't think this is the correct way to do it, but uh, for 4 or 500. So, is there an error class I can handle? Uh, okay, okay. So there is an error. See that error. Does that work? Unhandled error for the error. Okay. Handle that error. How does the handled version look? What is that? C dot error attaches an error to the current context. We don't want this, I guess. We just wanted to know it is. C dot abort. Yeah, how about that? Abort with status 401, not authorized. Perfect. But if error is not nil, C dot abort with status. Okay. So now that that is done, uh, yeah, I guess if all of this is not nil, C dot next. Mm, does this make sense? Yeah, this does make sense, right? We can probably use this as the middleware. Dot. How do I use that? Use. Is this how we use the middleware? Yeah, attaches a global middleware. There you go. Is there a group? Like, how do I make a group? R dot route a group. I can probably do that, but that's okay. Handle auth is already there, but we also need a func of not an API server that doesn't take in anything per se, but just as auth basically, and pass in the session ID, which is a string really quick, and that gives us an error. Uh, uh, where we go? Error. Wait. Return API dot. Oh, no, there's no API. This everything needs an API context. I see. API dot store dot. Where is that? Get session of session ID. Return that. How many arguments? Okay, okay, okay. That returns a string and the error. Mm, yeah, you to return the same thing. Okay, there you go. We have API dot is enabled. Yeah, now that we have both of those enabled, R dot get to handle auth. Okay, what is this? Uh, cool, but I don't think we really want that. Actually. We don't. Okay, so now that that's done, I mean, it can be a cookie or it can be an error, right? Yeah. If there is an error, obviously abort it. But if session ID is an empty string, then session ID is in fact c dot get header of session ID. Like it can be both. And is there an unhandled header there? Oh, it's unused. Yeah, no, don't deleted. Just reassign it. There you go. So yes, hopefully that fixes the error. Now if I go on to HTTP py, uh, go on to a new request, HTTP localhost 2468 slash auth, because we have the auth there. Uh, we go to the headers and say the session ID to be this, whatever this is. Okay, and then we send it for one for authorized. Why is it unauthorized? It's for one. Why is it for one? Let's delve deeper into it. Uh, so is there a problem with the session ID? Debug, no. Always just FMDB print and session ID or the error rather. So that end named cookie is not present. Okay. Okay. If error is not nil, okay, then try that. And even if you try this and the session ID is, then abort it with the error. Or don't bother about that. Yep. There you go. So we have a way to authenticate all of the requests. We can either pass in as the header or the cookie. Okay. What is it usually passed as though? Is it bearer? Is that what it is called? Bearer? I think it's usually passed in as something, but for now, in our case, session ID is perfectly fine, or the cookie as well. It's okay. Uh, okay, so now that that's settled, we have a way to authenticate our requests basically. Now it's time to head on to the HTML part. So we first need to create a new HTML file, call it login. Now this login will be handling both the this and that basically. So nope, not just that, everything. I thank you for the template, but I don't need it. What is this? Uh, the attribute. I hope you don't know the attribute at this point. But uh, yeah. So hey, thanks. So basically, what we did in this is we took the username and the password and put it up at the result. So H1, it just copied, uh, and I was expecting so much from this. Or mm, sign up. Okay, there you go. Mm, what is this thing? Okay, that's create user. There you go. H exposed to that. H exposed to login, and I think we need to come up with a new type for these names because what is the handle login page? Yeah, I think calling that is better. There you go. Perfect. Uh, do we have a login? No, we haven't. Log user, login user or something. There you go. Login user or something. And click login. That should handle that. There you go. So hopefully, if I go to slash login, there you go. Perfect. We have login and sign up. So hopefully, in this case, if I pass in the login and the password, we should be logged in, and Bitwarden should offer it to save it. If I go to application cookies, cookies, and that cookies, we should see the session ID, which is all we need. So that's our session ID. Hopefully that matches with our sessions. Let's refresh that, and there we go. So we already do have a session. we can probably come up with an optimization algorithm where if there is already a existing session ID that is valid, we don't need to have to create newer ones because that would just increase the space. So I guess that should be enough. And yeah, let's see if we can sign up as well. Let's refresh first. Let's have a user called Noob Science this time and give that chap a simple password. Submit that, and the user's created. Perfect. Let's say if we have a new session, we don't have a session created. That's cool. But we do have a user created, and there's no email. All right, this needs an email as well. And why doesn't our HTMX handle that? Well, that's all right. Okay. How do I refresh that? Hopefully, the building's done. So if I refresh that, yeah, we also have the email and the password. So perfect. That's okay. All these are rather useless. Concentrate on the session ID. That's all that matters, basically. Okay, so now that all that is done, we have effectively implemented authentication in our site. Now let's actually do something interesting, shall we? Okay. So the moment we come on to index.html, I want to redirect them to the login page if they are not authenticated, basically. So first things first, right? Let us actually check what does the server respond with when I just give it auth. Okay, using that was a wrong idea. We okay, don't provide in the session ID. It responds to 401. So we need to check for that 401 error, but I'm also not sure if HTMX would be the right way to do it. So we are reverting back to good old JavaScript. So uh, auth, I guess you use that case in JavaScript. So we have a fetch of slash auth, and then response is response.json. If auth res dot wait oh, res dot json. Okay, and okay, then you get the data. Okay, and if data dot is there a status? What is that written? Status loading, fulfilled, rejected, fulfilled, loading is an interface. Huh. We probably don't want this. Code. Yeah, what is this? Code is a number. If uh, okay, how about we await it here? We use promises instead. Okay. If I think we have to use that address dot status is not equal to 200, then there you go. Because yeah, okay, sure. So hopefully that should be all. Yeah, okay. So what happens now if I delete the session ID cookie? Refresh. Oh, nothing's happening. Why is that? Await is only under the top level of modules. Oh, you're not happy with that. Uh, okay. Okay. Then res is res.json. Hopefully that's cool. Oh, it's still a promise. Then actually we don't even need to convert it into a JSON. If res.status is like not equal to 200, window dot location is that. I forgot. Uh, what? Uh, oh, let's see if that works. Let's check our console. It's serving. Yep, that that works. So, so if we go there, so if we go to the main page, we are still getting redirected, which is what we want. But if we log in from the correct password, we also want that to redirect us. We also want it to redirect us automatically. Okay, so let's go on to login.html, and here's where we do something interesting. So uh, we say, so now there are two ways we can do this. One is, as ChatGPT is suggesting, we can do this, right? Or we can add HTMX into the mix. Because if I go to reference and I go to JavaScript API, you will see that there is, where is that? Where is that? Yep, HTMX on, right? We can add event listeners. So this is one way of doing it. Or the other way is we have HTMX events, right? So we have HTMX on swap, or there is also HTMX after swap. And this is what we want, has been into a new DOM, right? So what we can do is we can say document dot get element by ID result dot add event listener of this HTMX after swap. Do that, and that takes in the function of e, right? Hmm. Now if document dot get element by ID result dot inner HTML is whatever we had gotten after we had logged in. Actually, let's just check it at api.go. What are we passing in after a successful user login? We are passing in this exact text logged in. If it is true, under what location is that? What happened? Oh yeah. Okay. So hopefully after this, whenever we do that, I guess it should work. So if I go into application, once again delete the session ID, refresh, we again go back to that page. Let's try logging in with the username and password. And that worked. So there you go. HTMX, everybody. You basically replaced half the reasons people use React and stuff with 4 lines of basic event listeners. And in the next tutorial series of 4 installment of this, I will be showing you how to use HTMX with jQuery for the ultimate senior developer experience. And yeah, this is what we were able to achieve. Good authentication. I mean, I'm not claiming this to be the best possible way you can authenticate users, because we technically what this is doing right now is it is continuously sending a auth request every time the page loads. There can be better ways of caching the auth, basically caching the fact that we have authenticated. But I feel for our tiny little node-based project, this is good enough, right? But maybe not if you're building a production-ready app, but that was never really the point of this. So hopefully you learned something new today. Uh, so HTMX emits events that can be triggered from JavaScript. Isn't that cool? So this is actually what the creator of HTMX pointed out in a recent talk of his, is that he doesn't intend HTMX to be something very different. He intends it to be used with JavaScript, basically enhancing it. And I feel that it does do that, which is awesome. So hopefully you liked today's video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up, and so do subscribe to the channel. The past few months have been really awesome. I'm really grateful for the support. Thanks for watching. I know this one was not exactly HTMX, but learning HTMX was never the point. The point was having built something using HTMX. So we're building this, and I hopefully you had fun watching it. If you did, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. I'll try my best to keep these videos on the schedule now. Thanks to support I've been receiving. So if you do want that, be sure to subscribe. It really encourages me. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day. Tata. Goodbye.